Welcome to Good Money Guide TV. Today we're going to talk about Forex brokers and Forex trading. We're here with Ryan O'Doherty from CMC Markets. Ryan, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
So you've been with CMC for six or 7 years now?
No, 13 years now.
13 years. All right. Well,
yeah.
I have not done my research there. Sure. So fair enough. So CMC, you're a Forex broker. You can trade Forex through spread betting and CFDs.
That's correct.
Do you want to quickly talk us through exactly what a Forex broker does?
Yeah, I mean, a Forex trading, it's a very exciting market, the FX market. It's the most liquid market in the world. There's almost, $5 trillion US transacted on a daily basis. It's quite a different market than some others. It's off exchange, so it's an OTC market that's run through the interbank market. So the major banks are the ones that are actually playing and creating this market and prices. But from a CFD and spread bet perspective and trading FX, because of its liquidity and because of its size and its 24-hour nature, it's a really exciting market for trying to play because the spreads are lower. You've also got a lot more opportunity, so it's quite volatile, or it can be, and we'll talk about how that volatility plays out through fundamental events and everything like that. So it's really the buying and selling of currencies. If you think the market's, let's say the pound versus the US dollar, you think the pound is going to strengthen, the economy, let's say in the UK, is going up, you can buy the pound versus US dollar and then profit from that movement going up.
Sure. And of all the customers you have, obviously CMC's a London-based broker, but you have offices,
around the world.
All over the world.
Yeah.
What does your sort of typical client look like? Is there a standard client, or do you deal with everyone?
I would love to say yes, but after all the different events and all the clients that you speak to over the period of time, they all are very different. You've all got different levels of experience. Some clients are just getting into the markets, especially with new digital banking methods these days and being exposed to digital transfers for currencies when clients are holidaying. People are more interested in the FX markets and how they change. And Brexit's been one of those tools as well. You've seen the pound drop significantly. So you get a lot of new wave traders coming in that are learning about FX markets, and because it has got that volatility, there's opportunity for them to make money based on that. But then you get a lot of the more experienced sort of traders that have been trading out there for a long time that are used to what the FX markets are doing, feel very comfortable. But trading through CFD and spread betting gives them the opportunity to set up their different order types, and have that flexibility.
Right. So of those two different types of traders, you've obviously got the short-term technical traders, and you've got the slightly longer-term event-driven fundamental traders. Do you see a significant difference between the two, or do they tend to overlap?
No, you do. It's interesting to watch the way that people go about trading. So you will get a lot of people, and because FX trading it can be very technical. There are key levels that are in the market, and you can see them trending quite significantly.
Do you think they're self-fulfilling prophecies?
I think there's an element of both. I think there is a bit of self-fulfilling, because if you see a key level, then if you've been in the market for a while and you think, well, actually, where do I take my profit? Then a key resistance level is actually a great opportunity to cut some of the losses, see what happens afterwards. If it drops down, great, you can get back in, or if it goes above, then we might see more momentum going up, and then you can buy back in that way. So. Sure. Technical trading is a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. However, it's something that a lot of traders are looking at. So it's important to be aware of those key levels. Yeah. So you do have those technical traders, but you also have people that have been trading it for quite some time that are really familiar with the fundamentals. And I find the fundamentals an extremely important part of FX trading. You get the economic calendar is the perfect example. Yeah. You get all these events being populated on a daily basis. So you get your CPI figures, your GDP, your non-farm payrolls, all signals of the health of an economy. And basically, FX trading or FX currency pairs and their value is a way of showing you how the economy is going. So if the UK economy is going well, then you would expect the pound to be going up in value. Not always, but generally that's the
and you have those short-term economic figures, which tend to move the market in the short term, and then you have those sort of fantastic political events
somebody sending out a tweet, and that's it's a really good point, because you can be as fundamental as you like and then follow all of the events that are scheduled, and that does help you analyse the markets and figure out whether or not there might be a long term. But then there's all these sort of short term, especially in the age of Twitter and news being sent to people very, very quickly. You'll see the markets react to those quite rapidly, and that's why it's important, especially when trading FX, which is a margin product, to make sure that you've got your sort of risk management orders on, because these moves can happen at any time. You're not sure when it's going to happen, so make sure you put the risk management orders on.
Sure. So actually, you just touched on the economic calendar there, which you have on your trading platform. Do you just want to quickly take us through?
Absolutely.
What a foreign exchange trader would look at when trading?
So I've got a number of areas there. So I've got your FX quote panels up in the top right. So some of the major FX pairs showing me what they're pricing at the moment and whether or not they're up or down.
So they're your spreads as well, aren't they?
Yeah, so they've got your spread under there. It's got your low and your high of the day, plus the current bid and offer price. You can click on one of those and get into a trade very quickly. You can see the order ticket there. So you've got the order ticket for pound Aussie, probably tell by the accent. I follow this one quite a fair bit. And then you've got underneath that your sort of stop loss. I've got a guaranteed stop loss order on that screen at the moment. Just in case that price moves against me, I'm guaranteed to get out at 50 points below the current price. So that gives me that protection. But from a trader's perspective, there's three sort of areas there, or four potentially, that you can look at. You've got your Reuters newsfeed on the left-hand side, which will update me on things that are happening on the FX markets. You've got the charts. I've got two intervals there on the pound Aussie. I've got a long-term interval showing me the general trend over a longer period of time. And then I've got a shorter-term interval of 1 hour there. And you can see the volatility. You can see that huge big U-turn that happened after a particular tweet went out recently. And that's the opportunity that clients are looking for, and that volatility. And then on the right-hand side, you've got the economic calendar. And I constantly have this open on my platform. It's showing me all the different events that are happening globally. I can filter that to be just on US markets, for example, or UK markets if I'm trading one of those currency pairs. And then you can see the trend as to how those announcements have been coming out in the past on the right there.
So that's above expectations or below expectations?
Below expectations. And then you've got forecasts, as well as you get real-time announcements pop up on your screen. You also get countdown timers. So if you want to be aware of the event prior to it happening, so you can set up your trades, you can get triggers for notifications prior. So,
and also just looking at the dealing ticket as well, just on FX costs, how a broker would charge for. You can see the estimated cost, can you? And that, is that spread cost or?
No, that's your margin. So you've got estimated margin down the bottom. So that shows you that for the £1 point I'm doing on this spread bet trade, that's the amount of margin that I'd need to put up. But then there's also the estimated cost, and that's related to the guaranteed stop loss order. So putting on a guaranteed stop loss order is a bit like insurance. You pay a small premium. However, if you don't use the GSLO, so you get out of that trade early, you'll get 100% of that money back.
Okay.
So it's there. It's a great tool to use.
Okay. And does this show because obviously you have overnight financing?
Yes, we do. Yep. So that won't be on this, but we've got a product overview that you'll be able to see all the different costs and when they're charged on that.
And then also in the middle top right, you have client sentiment of Forex positions. Is that?
Yeah. So that's a general market watch list that I've got created there, showing me some of the major indices and FX pairs, and that shows. This is what we call the analytics view. It's showing you the performance for the day, a mini chart, basically showing you the performance over 2 days, so you can get a feel for has the market just gone down today, or has it been a general trend?
Okay.
And then you've got the client sentiment, so it's showing you what clients are currently long and short. So quite often you'll start to see those move, and they're updated every minute, so you can get a really good feel as to if there's any momentum one way or the other in regards to how other traders are looking at the market.
Okay, interesting. Right, and just moving on to the pros and cons of FX trading. Everybody trades Forex everybody has exposure to Forex in one way or another. There are Forex brokers opening up almost on a daily basis. So let's just quickly talk about the pros and cons, because it's important to be balanced. So what are the main benefits of Forex trading? What as an individual, be it a private client, semi-professional, professional, what can you get out of Forex trading? And also, what's the downside?
Yeah, I think it's
What are
really
the
important
risks?
to cover both. I think the FX market's an exciting market. It can be volatile, which then creates opportunity, and the costs involved in FX trading are quite considerably smaller than some other markets because of that liquidity. Your spread costs are a lot lower. It's a 24-hour market, so there's always opportunity. So unlike other markets which can close off at the end of the day, FX provides you with an opportunity to trade at any hour of the day. So some opportunities there. Plus you can get exposure to different currency pairs. We've got 330 odd different currency pairs that you can trade. So you've got a varied opportunity base. But the risks, again, the leverage side of things, it is a double-edged sword in the sense that you can amplify your profits, but also amplify your losses. And with FX trading, it's got the lowest margin requirement. So you're looking at a leverage of 30 to 1 or 3.33 margin requirement. So you're only putting in even a smaller amount of money compared to the total notional value. So yes, that can amplify those profits, but you've just got to be careful on the losses side. So they're the main pros and cons, I would say, of what FX trading is. So the other one, I guess, on the FX market is as we talked about before, is the unknown, that can actually move the markets quite quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
Quite often with equities, you've got a fairly structured corporate calendar that tells you when dividends are going to be paid, things are going to happen. You do get those shock announcements every so often, but with the FX market, somebody can come out and say something and they can move very, very quickly.
Exactly. Okay. And moving on to just tapping into your experience here. You've been in the Forex markets for a while. Of all the clients you've seen, what would you say are the top 3 mistakes that people do when they lose money? Whether they come into the market with unreasonable expectations, or they're just not managing their account properly. What's the sort of top 3 mistakes that you've seen, and what can people do to avoid them?
Yeah, I think with the FX market, because there is so much opportunity all the time, I think the number one for this particular market by itself is definitely overtrading. There are a lot of people that will trade, constantly get in and out of the market because it all moves so quickly, 50, 60 points within 5-10 minutes. So they'll see this opportunity, they'll get in without doing the necessary research to sort of understand why it's moving the way it is. With FX as well, I have a strong feeling that it's both a technical and fundamental trade. It's not just one or the other.
Yeah.
So actually getting a bit of a feel and doing your research in regards to what the technical side of things like key levels, resistance support levels, and also what the fundamentals and how they both combine to create a trading opportunity. But then the other one is trading too much, like as in the size of your trades, because you obviously see this opportunity and you think, well, if I do a bigger trade, I'll make more money. You really should sit within the boundaries of what your account is. So if there's some basic techniques out there that you only risk 2% of your money on any one trade, so that you're not over exposed in the markets. You push that up to 5% if you've got a smaller account. So those sorts of things are probably the key mistakes. And then the other one is literally leaving what I call a naked trade. You've got a market order out there, you haven't protected it with a stop loss, which, considering the volatility, it's really important to make sure that you do that.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, brilliant, Ryan. Thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
And thank you very much for watching our Good Money Guide TV section on Forex brokers.